Disclaimer: the content presented in this show is intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions expressed are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of any individuals or organizations mentioned. Statements made about public figures or entities are based on publicly available information and are not intended to harm or defame any person or business. This show relies on fair use of social media posts, which are presented in good faith for the purpose of commentary and criticism. Viewers and listeners are advised to form their own opinions. It's the end of the year. We have something very special for you on the Circles Of channel. We are going through the best of gambling Twitter for 2025 in this very, very special edition of Circle Back here on the Circles Of channel, which is part of the Hammer Bed Network. And this channel is proudly presented by Kalshi. If you know Circle Back from this year of content, it's the show we go through the latest and greatest news that comes from gambling Twitter. And it is a wonder that this show isn't even a year old. It's almost a year old, which means you have nearly a full year of content to go through, which is why we had to assemble an absolute super team to join me, your host, Jacob Germania. I am a content creator and producer here at the Hammer Betting Network. And on the screen right now, we have CEO of the Hammer Betting Network, Rob Pizzola, basketball originator, Kirk Evans, Anthony Joshua Backer, Mike, a.k.a. Mr. Peanut Butter, the sophisticated square, Jeff Feinberg, and co-host on Hit the Books, Joey Knish. How is everyone feeling? Rob, maybe we'll get a word from you here. It's amazing. Like, this show started, I think, in February, right after the Super Bowl. It's amazing it hasn't even been a year yet on this channel, on this show.
I mean, working with Jeff and Kirk and you, Jake, honestly, I would have thought this show started in 2018. It feels like forever. I'm actually floored that we only started this show this year. So, I can't wait to look back at we don't know what's coming. None of us know what's coming except for you, Jacob. And we had some beauties this year that I'm waiting to see what we got.
So how I've arranged this.
Jacob was saying that he was amazed it's only been a year. I thought he was saying it's amazing we haven't been sued yet.
It's amazing this lasted a full year.
Well, that's true. There's perhaps been some attempts behind the scenes, but nothing concrete as of yet. Maybe some might come up because of this show, and if someone features more than once on this show. But how I've divided, I've just gone month by month. I've been saving up content throughout the year. I've gone through my master list. I've trimmed it down as much as I can. We're going month by month with the best content, starting in February, because that is when the show actually began. A little bit of an appetizer, not going too deep, but I really like this one and laughed looking back at it. But it was SGP_Vic, big board bets, talking about how it takes zero sports knowledge and zero skill to do straight bets. As I've shown in the past, when I flipped a coin on 10 games and won 8 out of 10. Obviously, everyone doesn't feel the same way, and that's totally fine. But to me, taking a bunch of plays and parlaying them into something crazy is more of an art. That takes skill. And there was a good conversation brewing in the replies that was brought up at the time by DK_DFS, saying this app is truly the gift that keeps on giving. We had Daniel, who replied and said there's no benefit of straight betting unless your unit size can actually make you money. So anything above $250 unit size is worth it. It's a complete waste of time to straight bet $25 while sweating a 2-hour rigged game for $22 back. Just DoorDash at that point. Sergio said, 100%, bro. That logic of you to bet straight bets as real gambling is ridiculous. Like you said, it doesn't take much talent to take a minus 150 favorite to win. Like, no shit, LOL. But put together a parlay and it wins, takes research, knowledge, and skill. So who wants to have a first crack? I mean, how about the Anthony Joshua backer? Mike, you laid like a minus 1,000. I mean, that took no skill whatsoever.
It's like they're so close to finding out the point here, and they're just so far away. Not understanding variance in any way that they're like, oh, it's just luck. It's complete variance. You can flip a coin, and then using these SGPs as the reason that's what it actually takes skill. And then also saying, well, if you only have $25 to bet, there's no point. Like, there's a reason you have $25 to bet here. It's because you don't understand what's going on here. So SGP Vic is a bit of a favorite of mine. I love the term water it down. So it was great that he got to start the year off.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think SGP Vic has had the most like head scratching tweets of the year, if I had to single out one. But he's so confident in the way that he tweets as well. Like, all of this is right. That's what really gets me about a lot of the guys on gambling Twitter who are just like so confident that their opinion is right. It's like, yeah, why bet straights? especially these guys who just like live in the SGP world where they won one huge one in the past at like a massive price on the biggest fluke ever, and they've convinced themselves that like this is the way. You need to be skilled rather than realizing that they hit a lottery ticket. It's nuts.
I have a couple more here from this conversation. If straight bets take zero knowledge and skill, then how the fuck does combining those same straight bets into a parlay magically transform the plays into an art that requires skill? The reply from SGP Vic was, it's not those same straight bets. To actually take players to specifically do something takes skill beyond saying a team will win or lose. Maybe not understanding that you could actually bet on player props on their own. I did it for 3 days straight. Do you really think looking at tonight's game and just saying Lakers minus 12.5 takes any skill? Because I bet the same person has two accounts will say Charlotte plus 12.5 on the other. This goes back to the old days when people would call in for their bets. Jeff, Kanish, either of you, does this go back to the days when you'd call in for bets? Like, it was just so easy back in the day, wasn't it?
Give me you first.
I honestly, I don't really have any follow up here. The thread sort of, they keep digging their own brain as, as Peanut.
Okay, good. I didn't have shit either. So
yeah, as Peanut Better said, I
was pretending to be courteous, but I didn't have anything good.
Yeah, I don't know, they sort of expose themselves.
I'm sure you'll have plenty of takes throughout the rest of the show, so we can move on to the next segment here. I didn't want to make this first. I didn't want the hard hitter going first here, but back in February, when the L spaces were really starting to take off, there was a very interesting debate that took place with Steve Fezzik. This is a quote that was brought by Man of the Vig at Vig Please, who says, the point is, if GRP wins, find someone attractive that is 17, it is no big deal in my opinion. That is per Fezzik at Fezzik Sports. Got a hashtag circle back. Elf even added on saying, quote, I do find some 17-year-olds attractive, and I would never talk to them in that manner. And then later in the clip, he says, it's very rare I would find someone under 18 attractive, but there are exceptions. That's coming from Steve Fezzik. There's the audio clip as well that was posted with this one on Twitter. And I really love the replies that came from it, because Sharp Clark said Fezzik is good at math, but it's too bad nobody taught him the half your age plus 7 rule. And Mike, you quoted this and said, I do think he's a sharp guy. Meme really is reaching the next level. And then you added on the photo from that Conan podcast where it was about Jeffrey Epstein, like the Wall Street guy. And you said Steve Fezzik, the pick seller. Andy Molitor showcased a blackjack hand of 7 and 10, saying, I'm catching up on the gambling Twitter spaces. GRP Fezzik, do you hit or stand on this? And the last one from Deep Value Better. To speak in terms Fez can understand, the difference between 17.5 and 18 is like plus 2.5 and 3. Close in distance, but meaningful difference. So really, I think the replies are really the stars there, but man, looking back on that, I can't believe that was all the way back in February. Who wants the first crack on this tough
what a perfect day for this to come out. Has anyone checked the files for Fezzik or for GRP?
Maybe they were blocked out in the photos. We don't want to reveal them.
What was really crazy about that time is that was probably like not even top 20 crazy things that happened on Spaces over the course of 3 months. Like every single night, it got more and more absurd. I forgot that even existed because it just like blew over the next day because something equally more insane happened like the next night. Like Joey Kanish
era feels like it was 10 years ago, not like 8 months ago. I can't believe this was even that recent. People say time flies. No, that feels like it was like in a different lifetime ago.
But you know what? We say that like it's the Spaces era still exists. We just don't take part in it anymore.
But do you think you'll take part in it like when football season's over again?
I cannot.
It's toast.
Yeah, I see no way that I'm taking part in it, but it brought out some like disgusting behavior in me last year. Like some people, like I'd just be like putting my kid to bed, like lying in bed with her, trying to get her to sleep. And I would see someone pop in there and I would like bolt. I'd put my boots on, my jacket on. I'd like go to the garage and I would like chain smoke the drama. It brought out the worst in me in just like how my listening habits. I mean it.
Man,
Well-
I was up till 3 a.m. every single night. Just like had this. I'd be watching TV and listening it's impossible to accomplish that at the same time. You're not absorbing anything, but then all of a sudden someone's name gets brought up. Those were crazy times for sure.
Yeah, a lot of content from the show came from that, but this next piece of content didn't come from the spaces. This is one I think Jeff is going to remember quite fondly. It is, of course, at Vegas T-Bone. I think he got into a car accident and he was in an ambulance. But while he was in the ambulance, he took a video of himself flexing his Rolex, saying Rolex can take licking, but keeps on ticking. Thanks at Steve Will Do It, who I believe gave him the Rolex. But this is one that comes up every month or so. I think this one gets brought up. What an absolute classic, Jeff. What are you so fond of with this one?
It's one of my favorite tweets or sequences of the year. I mean, thank God T-Bone is okay, and that allows there to be a humor element. Without that, it's sort of a completely different conversation and potentially a morbid one. But he flips his car, correct me if I'm wrong, like into a creek, into a riverbed.
Right. That's what it was.
On a curvy, very dark mountain road, like an incredibly scary situation. And his send-off to let us know, to make contact with the world is to let us know the Rolex is still rocking from the back of an ambulance. The show almost exists for these sorts of tweets. Like, it's tweets like this as to why I think, like, sure, there's hardened pro-Betair debating, but that is the reason to me that this show exists, because as I often say, I can't talk to my friends in real life with real jobs about T-Bone. But Rob created a like-minded space where we could get together and discuss something like this.
Yeah, very accurate way to describe that.
Yeah, I don't have much more to add. Obviously, I've beefed with T-Bone over the course of the year right now, so I don't want to go in deep. But honestly, I can't imagine what's got to be going through your mind. To be like your life is flashing before your eyes. You go off like a fucking like you're off the road. You're into a creek. Like you gotta. Medics come. They're trying to save you. Like pull you out of the water, and you're like in the back of the ambulance. Like I gotta tweet that my Rolex is still good.
Like before you call family, you tweet.
It's true. They don't even know if you're okay, but they're like, oh, thank God.
The Rolex is
about
okay.
his Rolex.
At least the Rolex.
The Rolex that he was given by an influencer in a crash that
Where
I
you
know
going?
what you're getting at.
I know what you're beating around here, Joey. That maybe
alleged substances could have been at play.
that I would have laid Anthony Joshua prices that he was intoxicated, but somehow apparently did not get arrested for DUI in that crash.
Then he must have been okay.
I think
Right, that's
T-Bone,
right. I guess he must have been.
Yeah, I don't know.
having had a couple real life interactions with T-Bone, like this probably 15 years ago, in Vegas, he seems to be like a guy, despite how crazy he is, and he has his niche angles that he can crush. He seems to be a guy that knows when he's gives her in the right circumstances. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but he plays hard, but I don't he seemed he obviously wasn't drinking. He would have been on the hospital gurney with a handcuff, I assume.
I would agree with you.
It's true.
Do you think they could get the handcuff around the rollie?
That's why I wasn't arrested.
Also in February, I think this is the last piece that we have from February, is actually Amanda Vance, who made her debut on Twitter in February. And it was kind of like something that just escaped the gambling Twitter sphere, because this was a person who became very big on Instagram, decided to bring that over to Twitter, and people did not really like it. Here she is in the initial tweet. This was my first time ever seeing anything by Amanda Vance. Amanda wins, essentially defending her pick selling service when people made very strong claims that it's not actually a winning service. If you went to the website, you could see that the picks were given out pretty much right at post in some of the most efficient markets. So noon, which is an hour before the NFL slate begins, or 5 p.m., which is usually an hour or two before the NBA slate begins or NHL slate begins. So there was question marks about the validity of how much was actually being won here. I actually reached out to the people behind the website asking for some sort of tracking to give me some verification before I make a purchase. They denied to provide me such tracking until I actually bought one of the pick packages. So I guess there's no actual confirmation of whether these picks are winning or losing, but we can make our own deductions, I think, and inferences to say with not certainty, but with some confidence if these picks are actually winning or not. And to provide some additional kind of backing to the website, it's alleged by Spinfluencer here that there were some fake reviews on the website to help drive sales. So there was a lot of shady behavior going here, but it was quite a year of content that came with Amanda Vance. But it is pretty remarkable, Rob, that the journey only began in February.
You know, I will say this. I look back on it now, and I'm like ashamed I spent as much time as I did being angry about this. I like my belief. I don't get happy when people get screwed over by pick sellers or anything like that. But at some point, you just got to be like, it's very obvious, you know, that you shouldn't be buying this person's picks. And if you can't figure that out, like maybe you at some point you got to own it. But it's so old news. I'm done with Amanda Vance. It's all Emma Vance now. That's all I care about. Amanda is out the window.
I was going to derail us with some. I feel like we haven't discussed what's her name? Emma Vance?
Emma Vance. Yeah, she's
have we
breaking
talked
news
about
now.
that Emma Vance posted that Giannis demanded a trade sponsored by Polymarket. Everyone's like, this is obviously fake. And then Shams reported it like 36 hours later. Have we investigated that at all?
She reminds me, do you remember during the Kawhi thing, there was that guy who said he had the sources, and then he was like, he reported that he was going to the Lakers. He's like, there's a material change in outcomes or whatever. And he had like a brief run in the sun where everyone was like, does he have sources? This is the next version of that.
Yep. Yes.
He's taking enough shots. Like, he's taking a lot of shots.
There was.
Actually, I guess I haven't seen it.
Right. Kirk is giving this some validity when there was rumors going around all week and she just repackaged it with a photo of herself.
She was first. All right.
She put on a blazer and hired some security to walk behind her. And now we've got like breaking news coming out of that account all the time.
I'll give them this. The Vance sisters, you wouldn't think there's much going on up here for either one. But in terms of content, rage baiting, aggregation, and that, they're actually not too bad because you love to hate them, and it gets people, just random people. I mean, she's doing the whole faking the Evans, whatever the NBA Evan Silver stuff that just makes up fake stuff and gets a bunch of traction. Yeah. She took that playbook and was like, oh, I'm way better looking than him. Then now I'm doing it. The Vance sisters, they got some skills in terms of maybe not their picks, but it's selling content. They know what
you nailed it. You nailed it, my man. There was one recently where Amanda Vance was flying first class, and she's like, "There's no TV." I'm like, "It's in your fucking seat. Like everyone knows that it's there." You know, but anyways, they do a great job of rage baiting. I'm even getting mad just thinking about it right now.
Absolutely. Now that takes us into the next month, March. This was, I think, the real apex of the spaces. This was when it reached its peak. It has never been to this level again. And it is the Sean Perry versus Mozzie fight that took place. Sean Perry, Mozzie went back and forth on Twitter. There are some questions if maybe this was set up in advance and this was to help promote it, but it felt very organic at the time with the beef back and forth, and it all came together into an actual fight. I really like this one from Josh at Call Cuss Service, who says two people that are almost identical ideologically, but think one another are a fraudulent, are willing to fight till the death to prove that they, in fact, are the real thing. Absolute masterpiece. And the fight did take place. It was like within 24 hours this happened. They met up at a gym. They were beefing in front of the gym. They went in the gym, and Mozzie and Sean Perry had a not very good fight, but I think entertaining enough, kind of like rough and rowdy vibes, where Sean Perry ended up becoming the winner. We got a pretty funny photo of Mozzie on the outside of the ring laying down, like Royal Rumble style almost. And Adam at the NHL Better says, when you get 40 cents of CLV and the team loses by 20 points. Again, it feels like this was really the climax of the Twitter Spaces, and we'll never reach this level quite again.
I was all in on this. I'm not gonna lie. I followed like that entire day. I was all in on that fight. When Mozzie pulled the video of Sean Perry's bar mitzvah, like that had to be one of the best of the. Yeah, that was like, I watched that video 50 times over, wondering if it was AI. I seriously did. I was all in on this. I hate Sean Perry. Absolutely can't stand him. Low life loser, in my opinion. But that was the one day where I was very invested in his content.
The two things I think of when I see this are, one, that Des Bryant was there. Still will never make sense in my head. And two, Mozzie in jail right now. Right?
I was gonna say Mozzie's 6 months ago on top of the world, from there to federal prison.
Yeah.
6 months ago, fighting in jeans in a boxing ring. And then, who could have predicted this outcome for Mozzie?
Life comes at you fast. And it also came fast for Elf. This was like the time where, Elf was really respected in this space. This was a space that was used to help kind of expose frauds in this space. But then people started to worry that maybe he's getting caught up in the wrong crowd. Man at the Vig said, I think the more Elf talks to these frauds and learns how they live and who they party with, the more he envies the lifestyle. I pray he stays strong. David Hill says, kind of incredible how fast this Elf show went from clowning scammers and touts to celebrating them. I don't get the arc at all. And Live Dog Luke with the meme of the guy whispering into the girl's ear at the club. She's clearly not interested. Quote says, so Elf grew his following by creating community around calling out scammers and exposing them. But now he flew out to Las Vegas and spending time with Sean Perry and is glazing the lifestyle. We are getting worried he is going to become a seller or stay true to himself. Rob, you had a very big falling out with Elf after a previously having a good relationship. Feels like a lot of these kind of warning signs were very accurate.
They were. Listen, I was very blind to it at the time. I really enjoyed the drama that was going on a nightly basis. It gave me something to do. I found it entertaining, but there were a lot of people who just knew that this was the way it was going to end up. And obviously the signs were there, and that relationship is non-existent at this point. I don't even know what's going on in his life anymore and what's happening. So yeah, it was a good run. Lots of people saw it coming though. I can't say I was one of them.
So it's a shame. Like, there was a tragedy that Nick Reiner had to kill his two parents, because I could think of a lot of people who I would have preferred Nick Reiner to run into a week ago.
Jesus.
Wow.
And that's pretty much every person that's been brought up in the last 3 minutes.
Well,
listen, I mean, yeah.
That's fucked up.
I'll try and follow that up with I agree that there was a moment where, oh my God, this show, it's gonna be it's you're thinking it's this, and now I think I saw a few weeks ago, Elf is on the Omar and the Elf shows now have combined into whatever cast.
So it's the clown show now.
Yeah. Whatever cast of characters haven't been arrested yet, that were or are not in prison or are not and that are now on the Omar show. So yeah, it's life comes at you real fast.
I used to think that, Elf misplayed this and that, you could have done whatever. I'm starting to think now, it was a short run. It had to be short for it to last.
Yeah.
Everybody wasn't going to commit to an evening thing for long unless you just have no life or in the Omar spaces. Those people are the people that are meant to battle it out on spaces for, longer than a just brief stint.
Yeah. Shelf life was way shorter than I think.
It is amazing, to Rob's point, how, that show got me to give a shit for 2 days that Amanda Vance wasn't answering questions. And now here we are a year later. I could not give a flying fuck about anything that happens ever to Amanda Vance, but for some reason, for a 2-day period, I was driving myself nuts that Elf let her out
they went to a Panthers game and then she had too many drinks and wouldn't do the show.
Yeah,
and then is dating The guy who
Elf
was
parody.
Parody.
yeah, ended up like actually like with one of the guys that came. So yeah,
No, Jeff made the point. It was amazing. Like, we expected Elf the journalist to hold the important figure of Amanda Vance's feet to the fire for some journalism here. Like, in
How
hindsight,
dare-
it doesn't seem pretty practical.
How dare Elf be like a young horny guy?
Yeah.
I
Well,
Of him.
I mean, he did do the same stuff with Bo Wagner, so I don't like, you know,
I don't
maybe the
think
horniness
Elf-
wasn't the maybe it was. I not there's anything wrong with that.
I don't think I think this was like, oh, Elf like at some point changed and started liking grifters. Like, I think we were just wrong. Elf never was like that ever. He always was on their side from day one.
yeah.
If anything,
I think he would always do anything he could to elevate the show, no matter what. It didn't matter what it was. There was zero moral compass. If more people were going to listen on a night, he would do it. You know?
Well, he did the right thing, and from his perspective, even if it upset some of us in the moment, or maybe you could say me with the comment I made a couple minutes ago, I feel like he used a lot of people that we like. I feel like he used Rob, he used Spanky,
Yeah.
you know, when he would like, thank you for coming in, like not on a burner. It really helps like promote the show, and like you're come in, and that was it, because he had Benson and Spanky and Rob, and it gave him a whole universe, and some of us bit and some stayed longer than others.
Well said. Next one, we go to April. And it was start of the year was a very quick rise up the ranks for Matt Zilbert, a real renaissance for Matt Zilbert. But it all came crashing down one fateful day in April. Just a simple over-under bet on the Giants against the Yankees. And this one, well, reported by @FrankRambo24, Jason Williams says, "Is this what you guys want? Someone editing articles after the game is over. Same guy tags everyone on the internet claiming they are not documented. This is just the start, Deadspin. I got plenty more coming." And there was plenty more to come, as we eventually found out.
Jacob, before you continue,
You can't start here with it, Joey.
Can you remind me why, after years of people not caring about Zilbo, how he got back into relevancy and was given a platform again?
Well, I believe that his
like
first
you
real
included
exposure
that.
was the Super Bowl player prop extravaganza
Oh!
in February of 2024.
I share
Parties
some
channel.
characteristics with Elf. I run a content company. I'll do anything for views. Everyone was going to watch Zilbert give out his Super Bowl prop. It was 100% going to happen. In this scenario where he doctored the bet, I also did a circle back. I remember I'm like, let's wait. And let's just wait till the evidence comes out on this.
I remember when everyone had their pitchforks out, you were like, guys,
You know
I
what?
don't know.
Rob is like, you know, it's like a bad guy in a kid's movie. There was like this dead creature, and he plugged him in. He powered him up again, and he has then since reached, you know, just creating Zilbert havoc. But I don't know that I could say this about anything else. If not for Rob platforming him on the Super Bowl show, it's interesting to think like if he even gets any traction back as a front-facing figure.
I'm calling BS on this whole thing. Okay, we did have him on the Super Bowl show. Every person already knew who Zilbert was. All that guy did was live in every single person's mentions.
I thought his Avi was just like a generic picture in a picture frame. Like if he
camera before.
He looked like a guy from like a picture frame in a store.
Yeah,
that's what I thought it was.
You can blame me. I didn't give him a panel at Bet Bash. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
I didn't put him up in front of an audience, you know, talking about NFL futures. So, you know, people see that he draws a crowd for some reason. With that said, literally today, I had to leave a conversation. Man, this guy,
I noticed you were no longer tagged in these circles off posts because of the replies on it.
I've DM'd this guy.
yourself.
I've DM'd this guy like a dozen times. I'm like, nobody gives a shit about your like. he thinks he's like saving the industry by going after everyone else. And like, where's your documented record? Guys, to the audience, I will apologize. It was a big mistake. Hindsight, if I could go back in time, I would reverse my course of action because I'm so annoyed with the whole thing. But you got like, we did good numbers for that Super Bowl. As soon as he came on, man, it was just fucking flying up.
You're doing I'm guessing you're gonna do multi-day, and I hope he gets his spot again.
Did it win last year? I know he bought points.
Yeah, the over-under.
He bought the total of the game, and it
Yeah,
won.
he bought points to total.
The prop show was like, I'm not going for this small ass props.
Yeah,
I'm going right for the total.
I forget if it won.
He didn't buy points, guys. He didn't buy points. He bought point. He bought
Right.
point.
Right. Well, in this scenario, he was just making a simple under 8 runs in the game, minus 105 at FanDuel. And then all of a sudden said, let's hope this game gets rained out because in the Giants-Yankees bout before the 9th for no action, which was strange because at FanDuel, if it goes over the 8, it's going to sell because per their rules, settle as per the 8.5 innings rule, except for when the result has already been unequivocally determined, which it was in this instance. Now on Caesars, it's a little bit different. If it does get rained out, the bet actually voids. So the claim here is that Matt Zilbert went to his Deadspin article, edited the pick to be at Caesars rather than FanDuel, therefore giving him now a worse price at minus 110 in order to get a push. Sorry, it's actually 8 runs. So in order to get a push rather than a loss. He edited a bet in order to get a push instead of a loss. Now, I wasn't able, I tried to dig up the actual, is it the metadata of the website?
You don't have to worry about it, Jacob. It's clear cut, man. We gave this guy a million opportunities. All he had to do was forward the email that he sent the article in, because he sends his article to an editor at Deadspin. All he had to do was forward that to one person. It would have shown what the original article looked like. He refused to do that. It's done. He has in his mind
to this day
indisputable evidence, and he's never done that. So as far as I'm concerned, you don't even need the metadata.
Well, the metadata did showcase that there was an edit after midnight, after the game was finished, to change, or maybe during it was edited well after it was posted, and this is the very, very strong claim that exists. We had
charges Zilbert can't beat. Only off the field can he beat those charges.
Mike Rambo said, our friend Mr. Zilbert has been caught with his hand in the cookie jar celebrating a Yankees game canceled pre-8.5 innings. There's just one minor problem. As per FanDuel rules, his under bet will still grade an L a lot, and also lots of other books have the same rule, not Caesars, as I mentioned. Mr. Peanut Butter, this was when your goat let you down. You said, did Zilbert really change the book he took the under at? You either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. I am crushed. Rip to the cat. Trent, book it with Trent, who fucking hates Zilbert, said, unbelievable, but not surprised that you gave out a shit play, prayed for a rain delay, and scammed all your followers who didn't get refunded of your shit wager, and then changed the article overnight thinking no one would see that you claimed to have it placed on a different book that voided it. Loser behavior. Wow. Yeah. That was really an electric week, I gotta say.
It was
of content when that one came
once
out.
metadata
really
started getting posted, people were really in the weeds.
Yeah,
like that's
for real.
Yeah,
for real. Next one. This is something. We're in April now, right? This is something that initially occurred in March. This was really like the seed that planted this content. It was NBA Green Beans against Man at the Library. Man at the Library was in the bathroom trying to incite a fight with Brett Feinsod at NBA Green Beans. Man of the Vag, Accolades Police 69 says, to be honest, everyone in this video is acting like a fucking idiot. Would any of you want your kids/future children seeing you act like this? Get in the boxing ring and hash it out that way. But this is fucking stupid. We're all dumber. Watch this shit. And get in the boxing ring. They did. Brett Feinsod said, these idiots of gaming Twitter are really giving the library all the fuel he needs to weasel out of boxing MMA match against me. This guy is completely full of shit. Anyone who thinks I didn't press him and stand up bid when Larry pulled up is a moron. Replay the tape. So that was the seed. they did get in the ring. I was trying to remember, what is the amount they had to pay Amanda Library to show up? Was it?
I think it was $2,000. I could be wrong, but I think
1,000
it
or
was
2,000.
Yeah, it
Well,
was.
he got up.
It was not a lot. Yeah,
He got in the ring, and I've had this photo saved on my computer since it happened. Brett Feinstein absolutely feeding him a punch through the outside of the ring as the ref is laughing, watching it happen. Really, really good fight. I just love like when an overweight guy refuses to take off his shirt in the most like obvious scenario where you should take off your shirt, like like you're fighting, and he still feels the need to keep his shirt on to fight Brett Feinstein, who has like an Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul size advantage against him, might I say. Although Manlary was upset because he didn't have the full protection in the face gear, whereas Brett Feinstein did. And maybe that's the reason he lost the fight. Rob Kuhn said, it was at this moment I did not like my bet, because I'm sure he had action on Man of the Library, because you can actually bet on this stuff when it took place. But Rob, you are not a fan of Mandalorian. I'm sure you enjoyed this as much as I did.
Well, I did at the time. I can't even look back on it fondly because I think I might actually dislike NBA Green Beans even more than I dislike Library. Like, these are two of the biggest idiots on the planet, absolute clowns. So I can't even enjoy looking back on that in real time. I was messaging Brett. I'm like, thank God you fucking laid waste to this guy. But now, like, Brett is even worse in my book. So it's disappointing. I should have a much better response to that, because Library is just a goof, complete goof.
I like that first tweet that's like, would your children be proud to see you guys acting this way? Hash it out in a ring. Like, your children would be proud that you went in Vegas.
They're proud of this photo right here.
Take it from the bathroom to the ring, of course. Yeah, there's the prideful event right there. Jeez,
it was just a natural evolution.
I gotta say, man, I really wish Brett just went into that bathroom and fucking beat the fuck out of him in there. Like, him not going in there was just such a lame.
We made such a big deal about him not fighting him there. Didn't like we were like, oh wow, man of the Library.
Like his girlfriend there?
Yeah, his girlfriend was there. Library had like some.
But Library had his man purse, and he wanted a small confined space where he could hop on Brett's back and like chloroform him. I don't blame anyone for not getting in like a 4x4 box with Library. Did I say that right? I know I usually
Library needed to quit right there, Jerry Seinfeld like race style, where you're like, I'll never race again. Like, I was in the bathroom, like, he had to have known deep down when he got into that ring that things were going to go poorly for him.
Yeah, but he got paid.
But he's so poor, Mike, that he had to take the money.
And not to like, shame a guy for taking the money, but this is a guy who claims to be betting this like absorbent amount of money all the time, going out for 2K or whatever it was to get his ass beat in front of a camera. Maybe not as much money as he claimed to have. Also in April, we had one of my favorite episodes of Circle Back. It was the GRP versus parody episode. This is the time of year where there was all these parody GRP accounts. There was Alien GRP wins, Giorgio Rigatoni Panagaki, my personal favorite, George Riley Nguyen Panagakis. That's what GRP Nguyen is the best name that came out of it. Where you have him eating sushi. You had like the Italian one at GR Pon Wop with Italian food. There was one version of him in Braille, and we played the game. Is it a real GRP tweet, or is it one of the parody accounts tweet? Made for some really fun content there. I don't know if anybody has anything to add, but I really enjoyed this little mini era of gambling Twitter.
That was one of my favorite episodes ever. That game we played where we had to pick whether it was real or not, and we had like all these little nuances that we knew from the real GRP account. That was one of my favorite things that I've ever done in content. It got stale quickly. Like, these accounts still exist, and they're tweeting at each other all the time. I don't know who's
Are
paying
they still tweeting?
Oh, 100. There's more of them now. There's
I thought it was like, I just assumed these accounts were dead.
No, they're still out there. There's more. There's way more of them. But that was a fun episode.
Maybe one day go back and reminisce a little bit. Let's head into June, because there was nothing actually that made the cut for me from May. So we're gonna fast forward from April, all the way into June. First up here, we had the Real Fats take on the entire McDonald's corporation, because when he was in an empty drive-thru, his food was going to take a bit longer than expected. So they asked him to pull up into a parking spot where they would bring the food out to his car. All I had to do was park for a little bit of time. At my local McDonald's, that parking lot is legitimately still in the drive-thru. In some other McDonald's, yes, that could be in the parking lot. But there was a novel or two written every single day saying things like this. Since you have been ducking me for the last 2 days now, let's simplify the entire issue. Just answer this one question. If a customer in the drive-thru line has ordered at the menu wall, paid for the food at the first window, and now pulled up to the second window to be handed their food, and there is no other cars at any point in the drive-thru lane, and you're now alone at the food pickup window, is there any justifiable reason why at the time I would be asked to pull out of line to wait in a designated area for someone to bring my food out to me? Hashtag answer the question. I love when like boomers use hashtags like so incorrectly, like hashtag answer the question. I love this other one here. It ends with hashtag fix the problem. It's another very long novel going up against McDonald's. He's giving away his full name. He's giving out all his information. He wants to chat with someone higher up. He wants to talk to McDonald's corporate about this epidemic in McDonald's across the nation, maybe even across the world. Connor Allen said, gambling Twitter is truly the best. Today's top story, quote, Fats is demanding a direct line of contact with McDonald's executives because they made him pull up at a drive-thru too many times. Incredible. I kind of want to start with Jeff because you stood with McDonald's on this one. You held firm. What's it like looking back at this one?
I loved it. It just made me smile thinking about it. The call, the audio of his call to corporate was one of the highlights of the year. Him trying to explain to this woman, and I assume we've all been there. I've probably been there more than you guys based on my gut, but they don't screw. Well, maybe they screw up a lot for you, but when McDonald's screws up, like their customer service is like they make it right. They don't, no 20-year-old at the cash gonna fight with you. They just want to make it right. What an absurd stance this whole thing was, but the magic of Twitter. Like I got fucking invested and drawn into this thing, and looking back on it as we sit here at Christmas, really fucking embarrassing on my part. But at the time, I couldn't resist.
You didn't use the promo code McSorry as Fats alluded to.
May I suggest the promo code McSorry?
I honestly, I'm dead serious when I say this. I almost wish this wasn't included because I forgot about it, and I know Fats isn't in good health right now. It was like why I didn't want Phillip Rivers to come back to the NFL because I'm like, man, if this goes really bad for him, this is what I'm going to remember him at. And I had like so many good conversations with Fats over the years.
You'll remember the good ones.
But this I can't.
Sorry,
get out of
this
bless Fats. Hope he's doing well. And I know like people might have this memory of me and him going at each other, me having fun with this McDonald's thing. Anytime, like I'm always wishing him well and hope the best for him in any like real life context. But I will always find humor in this McDonald's stuff.
This was your obsession for sure, Jeff, though. Over the course of the year, and you wanted the Fats tweets in every show. We vote on the topics for sure. I would go in and Jeff barely ever votes on the topics either, but there'd be like a big yes, like capitals bolded and stuff like that. He really, really wanted this stuff.
That's it for June. We're going to head into July. And this was the amazing arc with Jeff Nadu taking a domestic flight. That became the biggest news, not just on gambling Twitter. That was #1 trending on Twitter. Jeff Nadu taking a domestic flight because there was all this drama that he was on the no-fly list. And at the time, like we were all just like, okay, he's obviously not on the no-fly list. Haha. And then there was, I think it was a poker event he was supposed to attend, and he didn't make the flight. Elf said, I'm about to take off. Cash Elf to make his flight at -1,000. Nobody cares about me, though. The real sweat is if Jeff Nadu will be on the airplane today. Jeff Nadu did not make the flight. Larry Legend responded, said, so are you flying today or what? And Jeff said, no. Why? Alarm didn't go off. And that's when the gears started really turning. Like, okay, he's definitely not on the no-fly list, but like, is he actually on the no-fly list? And then he actually posted a video in the airport. His flight then got canceled and he still couldn't take off, which again, the tinfoil hat was on. Is this guy not actually allowed to fly? Babe Truth said, "Sir, Jeff Nadu did not get on that plane." It is the meme of the guy whispering into George Bush's ear, but it's Big Cat photoshopped onto George Bush's face. Kanish, you said, "I need Kalshi," presenting sponsor and circles off. I need a Kalshi market. And if Nadu shows up on that stream tonight, Kalshi posted a market, 20% chance it was fake. It wasn't actually a real market. But guess what? Nadu flew. Barstool held a live stream where they had boots on the ground at the gate at the airport with Rico Bosco looking on in absolute horror as Jeff Nadu comes off the plane. He indeed did take that domestic flight. And again, this was the #1 trending thing on Twitter at the time. Hashtag Nadu was #1 on Twitter. I mean, just amazing the levels that we got here. Who wants to start on this one?
My favorite memory of this was actually Kanish repeatedly saying he doesn't think that Nadu can fly, and Nadu would get fucking like he was livid.
He DM'd me like in a personal like Telegram chat once and was like bro, like when we were doing the show, like man to man, be like a heartfelt like, bro, like I need you to stop. like I respect you as a man. Please respect me and stop.
Was he still on the Friday show at the time?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
That was the Friday show.
So while this is all going on, wow, we still had him.
Is one of the best bits in the history of internet bits. Like the way it started from nothing, the fact that no one can trace back the no-fly list things, the fact that I don't know exactly why his flight got canceled, but that it was a rumor that some riders took ticket info and called customer service and got his flight canceled from like when he posted it a month prior. This is if I'm giving an award for best thing of the year, this is it for me. It was all around, as you're saying. This got way out of containment. This was like outside of gambling Twitter into like some normie in your life. Me like, have you heard of Jeff Nadu? Like, did you see this?
I feel like gambling Twitter, the whole Twitter world was unified for at least an hour of waiting and anticipation. I remember watching this stream live as he pulled out of the gate. Magical moments.
I remember like my wife is like, what's happening? And I'm like trying to explain to her like the elation, like what I'm the joy. And she's like, what the hell are you talking about? She's like, a grown man took a flight. Like, what's the big deal? Like, you just don't get it. You don't understand. And I'm like, you can't. You try to explain this to like someone who didn't know what was going on. They think you're fucking mental. They think you're crazy.
Yep. But Nadu flew. He did fly. And that was the highlight of July. We go into August now. This was the month of Bet Bash. And I think the biggest thing that came up here, Flup is a loser for fucking deleting these tweets. But he went at Kalshi, our presenting sponsor. I might add, within 2 hours of the live circle back recording at Bet Bash, he went and we were scrambling trying to figure out what, like Rob was thinking, like, what the hell are we going to do here? Rob had to basically kind of police the situation and play it down. But this was right before our live show. So essentially, Flup saw a market that was left up after the event had already finished. It was a tennis match. He put down a ton of money. And because of the house rules associated with prediction markets like Kalshi, they weren't able to void the bets. They were forced to give Flup a little bit of a loss. And a little bit of a loss for Flup is a very significant amount of money. Flup was very upset about this, took his disdain for the decision public. He has since apologized profusely for it. He has since deleted all tweets associated with it. He's forgiven our sponsors, Kalshi, here. But the tweets about it, Rishi Bet said, it's funny seeing the virtue signaling reaction to the Flup tennis thing, as if a single one of you wouldn't try to get a live moneyline bet. And if you see a player walking to the net to retire, and don't try to come up with some arbitrary ethical difference. Man of the Vad said, this seems very shady on Flup's part. Dude bet a shit ton aside that was already sold, trying to squeeze value from a closed market. He's lucky they didn't keep his whole fucking bag and ban his account, to be honest. Shady shit. Andy Molitor added, Flup probably should have tweeted that, but the folks trying to nail him to a cross maybe should chill a bit too. I got to start with Rob on this one. I'm sure you remember this one well.
I do. Very uncomfortable for me. Flup is a friend. He came to me that day right before the live Bet Bash show, Kalshi as our sponsor, and he said, like, Rob, like, I don't think I can do this. I said, explain to me the situation. And then I told him I thought he was wrong. I said, like, listen, I don't think you're in the right here. I think he tried to take a shot, and you at least received that well. He did the show. But, you know, most importantly, it's a good thing that Flup has learned from these PR mistakes in the past, right? And he's corrected them in the future.
Haven't seen him do anything like that.
Yeah, haven't seen any real PR misses from Flup in recent weeks or anything along those lines.
There's nobody like that is in person, like a genuinely, like he's such a genuinely like good guy, happy character that a corner of the internet absolutely despises. There's something about Flup that like a certain element of people, I don't know what it is, want him dead. And so when this came up, all the big sports were out for him. I remember after the recording, Rob taking it with me, Rob, Flup in a corner, and like he was just like, hey man, like I don't know if we can keep you on the show from this. And like, there was probably an hour there where like cooler heads had to prevail, where like you could see the like steam coming off Flup's head for a total shot. Like this was the shot of all shots from a guy who loves taking shots, and he's thinking he's all the money. Yeah, glad to see that he's really learned from that experience. But yeah, that was a fun, like living that in the moment was an interesting couple of hours.
I remember. Go ahead,
I would
Mike.
never tweet when I didn't understand what was going on at Kalshi, a certain thing, and really mess it up. So I gotta say it was disgusting by Flup. I don't appreciate that type of behavior, and I would never do anything like that.
So go ahead.
Every other like slide we've had so far is like truly insane people. This was like Flup's a smart guy. This is the biggest miscalculation of all time. What did he think was going to happen here?
What was it? His net loss was like 42K, something like that. There, I can't remember.
He was completely
around there.
in the wrong.
I know, but when you lose that much money, you kind of start to justify why you were. You know what I'm saying? The brain works in weird ways.
Yeah.
But like
the
maybe message someone being like, do you think Twitter's going to have my side here? Which every single person on earth would have said, no, obviously not.
You know, I just went to him and I said, Flup, like if this had happened to you, come to me first. I have a great relationship with Kalshi. Like we could, but from my perspective, I think you're wrong. And he's like, oh, you don't think I should have tweeted that? I'm like, no, like I really don't. But I love Flup. I don't want to bury it.
So from my role as a producer, unlike Kanish's belief, I actually do like work here at the Hammer. I was getting set up for the show like an hour before the show's about to start. I was in the room getting set up and everything. Isaac walks in, Isaac Rose Berman, who's been on the show as well. He walks in and says, you see what Flup tweeted? I'm like, no. And I read it. I'm like, oh my fucking God. Like we literally have to do a show in 1 hour. He walks in with a fucking no big hoodie on, refuses to take it off. Oh my God. Disaster. But thankfully it's been squashed.
Maybe he set that Novig thing up, seeing what happened after. He set it up all from the start.
Yeah.
The long game.
Maybe.
We actually talked about that on that show, if you recall. Like we made jokes. Kanish, you made like a joke right off the top, completely burying, like bringing attention to the situation where I'm just like, oh my God, here we fucking go. Like,
that to me was my favorite circle back of the year. That line.
It was a good show.
Yeah, I like
we pulled through it at a great show, I think.
I like doing that.
And GRP was like in the audience.
Oh, GRP was eating it up. He's fucking live tweeting about, oh man, what a
the notepad, all that. Lots of great stuff from Bet Bash. But we do move now into September. Next month on the calendar, we have GRP coming up first because over the summer, he went on a new venture trying to get a pick selling service up and running with payments going through Western Union, I think it was, or I think checks basically in the mail. And it was a rough start to the season. We're confident nobody bought his picks other than one person who was a friend from high school. That is what we believe. And after a very rough start to his pick selling service, performance-wise, the sides that we're not winning, He said, which one of these is the reason for my big announcement tomorrow? 1, secret formula being sold. 2, I'll be a Wager Talk handicapper. 3, there will be GRP wins crypto coin. Or 4, moving to Vegas to work in a sports book. It turned out he was selling the secret formula for, I think, 6 figures. I think it was like
$250K. He wanted.
And he was retiring from NFL sides, and then he was betting sides like next weekend. But he briefly retired from betting NFL sides. Covers Van Zacks. I'm a grown adult, and I've watched the GRP wins retirement/secret formula video 3 times in the last hour and read every comment. I need a psychiatrist. #circle back. Jeff, I think you're GRP's biggest fan among us. You met him in person. Describe what went down here.
When I met him, I told him I think he was in big trouble. The whole touting thing, the PO box, it was all a disaster, and it was all for our entertainment. And it, honestly, at a certain point, it got a bit exhausting.
Yeah,
even for me. But George will always do something crazy to pull people back in, even for a little. That's all I got. Meeting him was watching him like try to pick up like a 20-year-old pretty blonde girl in person was like a sight to behold, a true highlight. And we can't forget, Jacob. I don't know what, I'm not privy to it, but he got Benson to pick him up at the airport in a limo. Like, they wined and dined together, and then he ends up not entering the contest. That is one of the ballsier moves let's ever, we talk about.
GRP did pick up the tab for their steak dinner, but there was a lot by Jeff Benson in the way of, I think a limo picked him up, and they gave him a good room at Circa. Yeah, they didn't have one entry, and it's to this day, Benson, like you see the replies to GRP's tweets, Benson has never forgiven him, and I love it.
George promises, for what it's worth, 10 the full load next year.
Oh yeah, like he did last year. Like he's coming to this season.
If GRP is a stock, it's like you're buying like the bottom right now. I mean, I'm just even going through like his engagement on his tweets right now, like. It's bottom of the barrel now from a guy that was like people couldn't get enough of what he was saying for a few months there. Jeff always thinks he's gonna like come back and do something. I don't know if he's
what did he do a couple weeks ago that had people like dying?
Skip Bayless and Stephen A.
Skip
That's fair. That's fair. You got that.
Well, it's just like a monster. He hits a moonshot, like a pool host off the Astros. Sort of moonshot, but I agree with you, Kanish, and I've told him and I've said it on the show. His like, not that whatever he was doing before was it entertained me, but this like weekly tracking of his futures is the worst. Yeah. I said it to him, so I could say it again. It's like telling someone about your poker hand stories. It'd be like me telling you about a par save that I had on the golf course this summer. No one gives a shit. It is the worst content, and it's really the only bit he's got right now.
The selling pick execution has to be one of the most mismanaged, possible. Like, if you could have just done it, you would have had even like some of for like 100 just to see the picks or for the content itself. But he couldn't even get it into a format where anyone could actually buy it. And so he got 0 buys and then quit it after 2 weeks.
I'll say if GRP was the kind of person who could execute that, then he wouldn't be as loved as he is. Like, it's true. Simple pick package is why he's at the peak.
Yeah. And him, like, come on, Kanish. Like in the winter, he's gonna bring that barbecue into the garage, and you're gonna like laugh your head off.
This upcoming summer, he's gonna turn over one of those boards, and there's gonna be a fucking snake underneath, and it's gonna blow up, man. Like he will find a way.
In the video series we did, where Jeff asked, "Have you ever found a snake under one of these boards?" He says, "No."
That's like, what the fuck? I thought you found snake. And then the way that he, like Jeff was going in to flip a board, and GRP's like, no, you don't want to go that close. Jeff's like, I can assure you that there's not going to be a snake under this board. Like, there will not be a snake here.
I think where he really jumped the shark was when like he became more self-aware of the content. We really lost the authenticity of it, and I think that's where it really started the downfall. But something will bring us back in. I do believe Jeff there.
I don't mean he can hold. I don't think he can like. It'll be tough for him to have a bit that is like gonna hold or like get him, you know, any sort of like content opportunities. But I just mean, you know, for all the strikeouts, like there is always going to be like a pending moonshot.
He needs to hit a banger at the NFL draft, and I think that'll get us everyone back in. Maybe that's what he needs.
Super Bowl MVP goes to a lineman this year.
Oh boy, the kicker.
He's back.
He's back. Speaking of NFL bets, we're staying in September. It was pretty loaded for stuff here actually on this. We had the quite possibly the worst beat in NFL betting history. Maybe not, but one of the biggest ones, Hall of Fame worst beat, where the Rams, they were down 27-26. They were about to kick a field goal. The spread was 3.5. If the kick had just made it past the defense, if it missed or if it went in, it would have been a win on the spread. It was plus 3.5 for the Rams. Yep. So all this kick needed to do was make it to the goalpost, essentially. Or if it gets blocked like it did, someone needs to just fall on the ball. But the Eagles house it. One of their linemen, I think, pick it up, runs it in. And again, as time expires, one of the worst beats of all time. But as China says, this stuff, every week you see something like this, right, Rob?
Yeah, that was the classic. This is where China's bit started about like there's no such thing as bad beats. Yeah. When like the most ridiculous things were happening in sports, and he's just like, this happens every weekend. You know, this happens every weekend that a kick gets blocked at the wire, and for some reason, every defensive lineman who's just taught to like fall on the ball to end the game, he picks it, scoop and score for a touchdown. That one was an absurd one. Luckily, I was not on that one. I don't know if any of you guys were, but like that would have significantly altered my weekend. I certainly, I don't know if I would have.
I remember the Hitman was on that one for sure.
No, it makes a lot of sense. Natural born loser.
Next up, from also in September, I wanted to highlight the significance of prediction markets having their own dedicated episode of South Park where Kalshi was directly mentioned and Kalshi was directly shown on screen. In fact, Kalshi interface was used on screen for the specific episode, and you could actually use Kalshi to predict what would be said during the episode, what words would be said during the episode. Just wanted to give a highlight there and a shout out to our sponsors over at Kalshi. You can sign up to Kalshi. We talked about them already with the link in the description or the QR code that is on screen right now. But a very large testament to how far prediction markets took off. I mean, you think about this, the start of 2025, even something like this would have felt like insane, but that is the growth levels that they displayed. Last thing that I have for September, Salvo Bets, faking his own death in order to help drive his pick selling service. Salvo Bets tweeted, really sad news to report to you from the Salvo Bets family. Salvo Bets tragically passed away in Mexico. He drowned in the Las Cañadas Waves pool. Really sad to share this news as his passion was sports betting, and he always told us that. Heartbreak emoji, April 8th, 2005, September 1st, 2025. And then I tweeted, me dead? Nah, I just wanted to shake things up for when I got back. Who's ready for some plays tonight from a ghost? Hashtag back from the grave. Joe,
I loved it. I love that.
Screenshotted it, says this might be the biggest solution I've ever seen on Twitter. Faking your own death is a new Twitter engagement low. Go ahead, George. Jeff.
I just was one of my favorites of the whole year. You want to like, you know, like who could do that? How do you do that? But my brain just like I died of laughter.
Back from the grave card has to be like one of the best cards of all time. From everything he won, does it say he died in a wave pool?
That's the part that I can't.
I didn't remember that.
The specifics of that. The Las Cañadas wave pool. Like
he spells tragically wrong. Every part of this, just those picks. Every part. Honestly, I'm gonna buy his package.
Yeah. Salvo Bets. Oh man, I will say a guy made a name for himself. I never fucking heard of him until the wave.
I haven't heard of him since.
That's true. I guess I haven't heard of him. But maybe he actually did die in the Las Cañadas wave pool. What a way to go.
Now we're going to move into October, and this is where we really hit a historical milestone for 2025. We hit the century, minus 100 units from Steve Fezzik's pick selling service in 2025. But important thing to preface this is that he was up 250 units from 2020 to 2024, which is important. So if you've been tailing him since 2020, you're still up and still doing very much fine. Rob said, turns out Blue Horseshoe's new high volume strategy was really just a speed run to going broke. Congrats on minus 100x. Adrian Badjarowski posted the proof of history. The year to date was the time minus 101.8. Last time, Jason told me on Monday was at minus 118. I still think we're in the historical range where we'll finish the year minus 100. Is that true, Rob?
As of recording, he's minus 118.36.
However, in 2020, 2024,
correct. Plus 250.
Okay. There was a post that was unfortunately deleted here, but Adrian Badjarowski, a correction. This is the second time Fezzik hit the century mark in units lost. That's reported there. I'm reading off the tweet. That's not my words necessarily. 2017, he only needed 4.5 months to get there. That is, again, according to Adrian Badjarowski. And the good distinction here. Beat Al's 44 says, I assume this doesn't include the fees his poor, literally and figuratively, clients fork over. So no, if you've been tailing the plays, you are down over 100 units on the season. If you started tailing in 2025, that is, and you are also paying for this service. So you're down more than the minus 118 or thereabouts in units. Rob, this was really a historical milestone.
Yeah, but you're trashing the guy as if he's not giving a free dinner to all the people who lost on the service. I mean, at least he's buying them dinner after the fact.
Saginaw's?
Yeah, I don't know what's. I listen. You guys know my opinion on Fez at this point. There's obviously some beef. The biggest thing to me is that, like, he compares himself to others in the space all the time, and especially to me. Well, like Rob loses. Look at the forward progress record. Look at the hit the books record. Look at this and whatever. It's like we're very honest with the audience, and we don't fucking sell the plays. How do we not see the difference here? One way or another, we're content creators. We're trying to give out plays that win. He's selling a service that's down a lot. I mean, at this point, there's nothing really more to say on it that I haven't said in the past before. It's getting crazy, Kirk.
Well, it's just crazy that, like, the February story that Fez was in, like, at that point, Fez was still like the meme that Peanut always says of, like, Fezzik's a winning sports bettor, but blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah. Now that this has been a speed run into, like, wow, now he's down 100 units on his service. Like, it's crazy to think that, like, in January, I would have thought Fezzik was a winning sports bettor.
Yep. Same. I mean, I go ahead, Peanut.
In March, I thought he was a winning sports bettor who thought 17-year-olds were attractive.
But now he's a loser as well.
Like the thing that really gets me about the whole thing is that the service went down, and then he's like, nobody has an edge on sides or totals anymore. Like, no one has an edge. We're pivoting. And he started, like, firing all these props, and like literally taking them from other touts and, like, other places and other pieces of content and releasing them and continuing to lose. And then, like, firing like at the beginning of the year, it's like, no teasers this year. Like, no one has the teaser prices that we need to bet. Now all of a sudden teasers are back. Like, anything to try to just scrape by and get some more units back on the table. It's so nuts at this point. It's honestly, like, if I was writing a comedy skit for, like, Saturday Night Live, you could just take exactly what's happened in real time for this guy over the year, and it would make every bettor laugh.
Staying in the same month here, we had this 2-pick parlay from at Bet with the Boys, the minus 652 2-leg SGP, which contained the Clemson money line at minus 558 and the Penn State money line at minus 2,074. Now, if something sounds off about that, it's because it is. If he had just taken the Clemson money line on its own, he would have had a better price at minus 558 than the 2-leg SGP at minus 652. He says this is the most $767 in the history of the world. Step 1, deposit $5K to Novig. Step 2, win $767. Step 3, enjoy your winnings. Now, what also happened with this, not only was it incredibly stupid to post this, Penn State lost. Therefore, the bet lost, and he could have just gotten a better price and a winning bet had he just bet on the Clemson money line. BA Analytics, Porter, who we've seen on the Friday edition of this show, said, I really appreciate your customers. They are deeply needed for the betting ecosystem. And then he says, my guy, it was a joke. Jesus Christ almighty. And there were a lot of people like Angry Mike Shostia, sorry if I said that wrong, says, no, it wasn't. Shut the fuck up. And there were a lot of replies that said that this, in fact, was not a joke. It's not that long ago. Do we remember this one?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is like a Fosen bit, except the guy that did it is a complete moron. That's the way I could see Fosen leaning into something like, big parlay, a couple big money line favorites or something like that. But the guy didn't realize that the prices actually were there's actually been two really bad bets this year. It's been this guy, and there was one guy who made a bet that actually couldn't win. I don't know if you recall it recently as well. He bet like some sort of combination on DraftKings that couldn't possibly win. College basketball game. Right. These can't be these people are beyond help. Like there's no helping someone who cannot look at that when they're adding like a leg to a parlay and don't realize it pays worse than just the single.
So it happened because of the quirks with prediction markets and the parlay engine that they're currently rolling out, which is why this could happen. Wouldn't happen necessarily at a traditional sports book. But yes.
I was going to say this might be the only time in history that this will ever happen, going forward, or has happened in the past. Because that's obviously a glitch of a new prediction market parlay. So he might be the only person to ever lose a bet in this.
I wouldn't be so sure about that because that was Novig and Flup's there now, and he likes to steal from people as well. So you never know.
I have put in extra leg to an SGP bet before which made the odds worse because I wanted to disguise the action, and the shit leg lost. So actually, I have specifically done this.
Maybe
I'm saying parlay. I'm saying parlay, not SGP.
I think we found Peanut Butter's burner. No, this guy.
We're moving to November. This is the last month that we're going to cover on the best of the year because in December, I feel like this stuff is already quite fresh. So we're going to go into November. 2 pieces of content remaining. This one got a huge laugh out of the Monday show. Greg Ehrenberg said, should bets be voided? Here's a new angle that you probably haven't considered when it comes to voiding kicker props. So Stu Grogan says, so they should void the people that would have the over and take the loss in the under. Would love that, but you can't have it both ways. Greg says nothing should ever void. So Six God at LA Rams CEO proposed this theory. So at kickoff, some crazy fan runs onto the field with a bomb strapped to their chest and completely blows up and takes the kicker out with him. They stop the game to clean up the mess and resume. They shouldn't void that kicker's over-under on points or field goals made. Kirk, do you think in that scenario we might get a void on their player props?
Yeah, I stood with God T.O. or whatever his name is.
God.
I agree. And in that scenario, they should void. I do agree.
Okay. Glad we are able to get that distinction there. Maybe sometimes.
It's like the scene from Batman, with Bane, when Hines Ward. He's the guy who's like, I've got the touchdown. That counts. That counts. As Gotham City is erupting to flames.
Yeah. Maybe, just maybe, we'd get a void in an instance like that.
That's a Hall of Fame tweet in my if we had just a Hall of Fame singular tweets, I will never read that back and not laugh. You give me a month in between that and I read it back, I'm going to laugh every single time.
There's that and then the T-Bone tweet. I think those are the ones that kind of immortalize.
But you need the context of the T-Bone. If you don't know the context behind it, you're not going to get it. This one, anyone who bets could read it and be like, this is the most insane example that this guy had. How did that even pop into his head?
He's looking for something. Hey, you think nothing should ever get voided? Well,
he's looking for it's void culture. # void culture, as the boomers would do.
Yeah, absolutely. And the final thing that has made it to the best of the year, I think it had to be the best way to end the show. Rob tweeting, weekly tradition, people complain the NFL is unwatchable, then spend the next Sunday watching and betting every game. If it's truly a bad product, it's a simple solution. Stop. So on the Monday show, we pulled up all of the old tweets of Rob who said, I talked about how unwatchable the NFL is. He was not aware of this segment going into the show. Jeff masterminded it behind the scenes. I put it together. Kirk was aware of it. And Rob, you got called out live on Circle Back. How did this feel?
In the moment, it took me about 30 seconds to realize what was happening because I saw these tweets coming up on screen and I read the first one, which had unwatchable in it, unwatchable without the use of recreational drugs. And then I knew I got. And at that point, I had to own it. I didn't know these existed, obviously, or I wouldn't have my take, but that's it. I mean, listen, I preach this every single week on Circles Off. When you see a shit tweet, like, don't delete it, just fucking own up to it. And I mean, what really bothers me about that as a whole is I didn't think you guys were clever enough to hatch up a scheme like that. Like, that was in the moment. I don't know who masterminded this out of you three.
Somebody messaged Jeff. Jeff relayed it to me, and then I put it together for the show. And then I guess Jeff told Kirk ahead of time.
Right. So the originator was outside of this group, and you guys were just steam chasers, basically, which makes a lot of sense. It makes more sense in my head.
But Jeff came to me with the idea, and we absolutely ran with it. And I think that's the best way to end off the year 2025. This is the end of year special. We're going to be back on Monday with our typical live show, but we do our shows every Monday live at 1 p.m. Eastern time and every Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern time for the time being. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Rob, as CEO, creator, this is like Circle Back as your brainchild. This is like a show you tried to launch for a while. Let's give you the last word of the year.
Yeah, just appreciate everyone who tunes in to all these episodes. Obviously, we couldn't do it without you guys. We pivoted to a live format for Mondays this year. That's been, really well received. And there'll be some changes down the road on this channel as well. Obviously trying to deviate away from the Spaces stuff more as the year's gone on. But I have a lot of fun doing this show. I know our crew does. So your support means a lot to all of us because we do put in a lot of effort to get these shows together. So just want to wish everyone a happy new year. Hope you have great holidays. Hope your 2026 is great. And onwards and upwards for the Circles Off channel in 2026. Hopefully we'll have you stick around with us.